Hello guys, my name is Andre Vibezzzz and I'm a music producer, and this is how I make my daily 2K. How would you describe what you do as a music producer? As a music producer, what I do is I create, I arrange, I shape sound into complete records. Sometimes artists commission me. So for example, a few years ago, that was 2022 precisely, I had the privilege of working with Mr. Easy, and he commissioned me to make a couple of records for him, which out of all the records we made, say 4 or 5, we already have one released on his previous album, which is titled Chop Time, No Friend. So that's like one of the example. I've worked with a couple of other people. Other times I just, go into the studio, I make beats, I create full ideas, or I just create some ideas. It might be a full idea, the whole idea, or it might just be like little ideas, and that I can turn into like a full record. So basically, I make the music from scratch to finish. How did you get into music production? I grew up around music. My dad is a music legend, or was a music legend. So production came naturally to me. I started experimenting on creating beats from the age of 9. That was around the time my dad bought me my first keyboard, and I was experimenting a lot with the tones on the keyboard and with the there are these sounds that come with the keyboard that I can do like a pre-record. I can lay over the beats. I know that was like my first introduction to production. I didn't realize years later, a few years down the line, I would go into music production officially. But yeah, that's how I started my journey into music production. Did you have any formal training, or did you teach yourself? I'm mostly self-taught, but I got some basic production knowledge from an engineer who also worked with my dad as a sound engineer. So when I had the interest to go fully into music production, and I went to speak to my dad about it, my dad introduced me to this engineer. His name is Engineer Oscar, that's what we call him, of blessed memory. So he was the first person who showed me like the basics, how to lay the drums, the snare, like the basic things I need to start a beat with. But after he did that, he taught me those things. I took it up from there. I just, kept experimenting. I kept trying different sounds. I read some books. I would meet people. I would ask questions, and they would tell me. And then I was also learning by ear. So I would listen to a lot of songs that were popping at the time, and just try to replicate them and try to figure out the exact sounds that they were using to make those beats. Every now and then, I'm very intentional with how my sound evolves, and that gets me to always experimenting and trying new sounds, new plugins. Sometimes try to follow the global trends, because if you're creating for a certain market, you have to know what the market wants. And also I buy gears. I make sure I buy gears. I buy tools that can help me to upgrade my sound. Because you can't keep doing the same thing. It will get boring. So because I know this, I'm always looking out for new ways to express my creativity. And these days, even lately, AI has also become a tool to helping advance my music, my sound. And that's how I taught myself how to make beats. What are the steps a young producer can take to get noticed? My advice to any young producer right now is to stay consistent. We're in a social media age. So if you have like you have a social media account, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, another thing to do is to post your content. Just post your content. People can discover you from there, and then it's also important that you collaborate with people, with artists, with underground artists. It doesn't have to be like established acts. Just collaborate with like your peers, people that you're starting, out with, and you never know. The other guy that you collaborate with can have his own big break, and that can have his own has its own effects, right? It can have its own effects on your career. Also, it's very important to build relationships. Relationships really help. I don't know. I think people really underestimate relationships, the kind of relationships that you can have in the industry. And relationships can come, it's not just by going to meet somebody and saying, I'm this and that, I want to know you. You should have something, that you're offering, something of value. Assist, show up for people. Basically just find different ways to put yourself out there. That's how you can step up as a young producer. Yeah. What team do you advise a young producer to have for themselves? First off, the first thing you should, first person or first thing you should get, or person you should get on your team should be, I think it's between a manager and an entertainment lawyer. You need a manager, definitely need one. You need an entertainment lawyer, someone who's going to advise you, give you legal counsel on how to, move in the industry, and what to accept and what not to accept. When you're offered deals, contracts or agreements, these are your entertainment lawyer is the person who you meet, and he or she would advise you on the best way to go about that contract or agreement. So these are the most important people on your team, and then every other person that you can have on your team could be creative collaborators, people that you can create with. Someone you can have a co-producer, you can have instrumentalists, people who play instruments for you, and because there are producers who don't even play any instruments, or there are producers that just play the keyboard, but you also want to have like natural elements, live elements in your music. So you collaborate with, someone who plays the guitar, someone who plays the saxophone or the percussion, talking drum, things like that. When you have them on standby, you've already built a team for yourself. It's easier. It's when you have those people in your team, you find yourself having even more people wanting to work with you because you already look ready. Yes. How much does a producer earn, and how quickly does a producer grow in the industry? This part is difficult. You can earn as high as millions of dollars. I know that because I'm a living proof. But also, so producers can earn there's no limit to what a producer can earn. You can earn from $100,000 or even less to millions of dollars. And I can say that because, I'm a living proof of that. I've earned so much from the music I make or I've made, and I still earn from that every day. So basically, it all depends on your experience and royalties, basically, and your growth depends on your consistency and how quickly your sound connects to the fans, to the listeners, to the audience. So if your music connects more to like a wider audience, there's a higher chance of you making big chunk of money, But yeah, that's what's up. Okay, next question. What's your typical workflow when creating a new track? When I'm creating a new track, it always starts with a mood. I have to be in a certain vibe, certain mood, and then and when I'm in that mood, it starts with a melody. I usually like to start with the melodies. The melodies are what puts joins everything together for me. Once the melody feels right, it sounds right in my head. Um, I would then proceed to continue with creating that track. Then I build drums and I start to layer the instruments until it feels complete. It has until it feels complete before I bring it to before I bring it to the artist. Yes, so that's my typical workflow. That's how I go about creating a track. What are your favorite working tools? My favorite working tools would be FL Studio, Logic Pro. I also use plugins like Waves. I work with contacts, libraries. These are some of the tools that help me that I use that are like my top tools for making music, and every other thing follows, but those are like number one. So anytime I'm creating, you would see me creating on FL Studio. I make my beats on FL Studio, and sometimes I make on Logic Pro, and then I do a lot of my recordings on Logic Pro. I record my vocals on Logic Pro. I use a lot of Waves. I use contact libraries. I use Omnisphere. I use Nexus. These are just a few of the tools I use. Then occasionally, for sound ideas, so it's just for ideas, not like I use it to make or I create music with AI. So I use it to get ideas. I use AI for that. I also use it to organize. AI helps me to organize and helps me for quick inspiration. Yes, so that's where AI comes in. So yeah, AI is a welcome development, but I also don't think it's something that's you should be heavily dependent on, because what we do has to be 100%. I mean, it used to feel like that, create everything from scratch 100%. But AI can also be a tool. I mean, there was a time where making music was just, you had to make music live. Everything had to be live. You had to play instruments. You had to assemble like a band. You could assemble like a 10-man band, 60-man band, and different people are playing different things, and you arrange. But now, it got to a point where we didn't have to do that anymore. You can make music by just having a computer. You have all the tools in the computer to make music. So I just know that when a new technology comes, it's just hard. You can't, if it comes, it comes, and you have to adjust and you have to find ways to work around it. So, yeah. What's your process for finding the right sound or the vibe for a particular song or artist? So, my process for finding the right sound would be trying to get to know the artist and understanding the artist and understand the artist's tone, and also the artist's story. Because when you know that, it's easier to build something from that. You don't want to start creating music for someone when you don't even understand what the person's story is, or what the person's tone is like, or what the person is trying to achieve with their sound or the music. Because when you understand where the artist is coming from, it helps to reflect the energy that they're trying to pass across, and that's very important, because energy is everything in the music. If you can have a very nice song and everything feels complete, but if the energy doesn't feel right, it's going to be hard for the listeners to connect to that song. So the energy is very important when creating, and I like to have the right energy with the artist in the studio. If it doesn't feel right, I don't like to force it. Also, I like to take my time before we get, we create that masterpiece. How do you stay creative when working under pressure? Um, I always focus on the music. it's very important to focus on the music. Even when I'm under pressure, when there's sometimes I have creative blocks, but once I can channel my focus to the music, to why I'm in the studio creating, it's easier for me to block out any distractions. And I've also learned to trust my instincts. So I mentioned creative block, right? You can have creative block, but it doesn't necessarily limit your creativity, because if you're already a creative person and you're already talented, it's there. You just have to tune off. You have to block out whatever noise is disturbing your creativity at that moment. And sometimes even when you can't block it out, still go ahead and create, because at that particular moment when you feel like your creativity is being blocked, you can still be creating a masterpiece. You're just a little bit distracted. There's just so much noise that you don't realize that you are creating something crazy, something just really dope. And I know this because a lot of the times when I create and I'm not really feeling it at that particular time, when I come back maybe a few hours later or like a few days later, sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes a year or two, because when you create like that, you create and save and you don't remember you have a beat like that. And then after a while, you come back and you listen to it, you realize that you've made a masterpiece. You realize that you even made something. Sometimes I even, start to realize that what I was creating at that particular time, I didn't realize that it was something that the future needed. But I was just creating it because I didn't know if it would fit into anything at that particular time. And then, 6 months can pass, a year can pass, and then you come back to that beat and realize that you made something that the industry now is even, they are messing around with. So yes, I learned to trust my instincts, and that's one way that I can stay creative even when under pressure. My first gig, it's hard to tell which I would like to talk about, because in my career, I have a career spanning 20 years right now, and I've had different moments, different high points in my career for me. So at the time, there was a time I had a moment where I was earning 100,000 for the first time, and that was very high for me. And then it got to a point where I was earning as much as 1.5 million. So I think I would just highlight that. The 1.5 million came in 2013, and I got that gig as a result of me producing for my dad's album. So my dad had a management deal with Hypertech Records, owned by Tubaba, and they reached out to me to produce on my dad's album. And originally, I would produce for my dad. Like, I'm not even gonna. Why? I'm going to be charging my dad for what? I wasn't going to charge my dad. I didn't even think it was something I would do. But they reached out to me, and I was excited to work on my dad's project. But then while I was excited, they also told me and proposed that they were going to pay me for it. So when they mentioned how much they were going to pay me, I was really excited, because before that time, I'd never received anything more than 250,000 to make music. And even that 250,000 at the time is, you make a full album for somebody, an album of like 10 to 15 songs, and then they're paying you 250K. Yeah, but I did about 8 songs for my dad's album, and then I was paid 1.5 million for my production at the time. And besides that, I still get end royalties of that. So yeah, but now, it's bigger. If you want to work with me, you have to have some moolah. Yeah, well, yes, that's what's up. And by the way, my dad's name is Sir Victor Waifo. He's a music legend, and he's one of the pioneers of high life music. And he also created like some other sounds genres, which a lot of people know him for. One of them is the Ekasa. And my dad was the first African musician to get a gold record, a gold plaque in Africa. So yes. Okay, yes. Yeah, finally we're done. So yeah, once again, my name is Andre Vibezzzz, a music producer, and this is how I earn my daily 2K.